Hey kids, this is X-Ray Vision coming to you live from Cuatro Cinco Studios in my mom's basement with a very, very special show for you guys. We've got an all-star cast here. We've got Mark from The Forge. We've got Apex. We got Nate from DGen Roundtable. We got Radical Retro and Robert from the Genius Communities, Crypto Rookies, Pondub Dev, and Derek and Randy Hilarski. Everyone wave like a beauty queen to the camera. There we go. That's what's going on. What are we doing tonight, Mark? What is going down in not just the Forge community, but also with this awesome idea that you had about the incubation?
Well, we're kind of soft launching the Forge today. So at the end of the stream, I'm going to show them a little bit on stream how people can come on, submit their ideas, and write reviews and join projects. But this idea came together with Derek and Robert a couple of weeks ago, that we should have this live incubation, ideation streams going on in parallel to the Forge. So we're developing that now because one of the most important, some of the most difficult things in launching a startup is not necessarily coming up with the idea. Many people have lots of ideas, but it's coming out with it, talking about it, getting feedback for it, getting a team around it to develop and implement that idea, and then ultimately getting funding. So that's why the idea was to get started here so people can just pitch their ideas, find other people who love the idea, maybe can give some good input, form teams around it. And it's not just going to be this one stream, right? Already discussed with Randy that we'll pick the best ideas here and incubate them in more depth in later streams. We'll do incubation on the Forge in parallel. So it's really a completely new way of getting projects started, getting it out of people right from the beginning. So people should come on here and pitch some ideas. Some might be more well-developed already with websites and decks and everything. And some others might be just something people have thought about for a long time. The ideas come out, tell your idea, jump on the StreamYard link, and then get the feedback from the community here. And at the end of this, we're going to recap a little bit all the ideas that were here and have a very informal voting to pick kind of the best ones that we want to incubate as the community. We'll then submit it to the Forge, invite everyone to come and provide feedback there, and incubate them in more depth in later streams. So that's the idea in short. Max is gone, huh?
I tried to make room for Roger to come up, but even if I go backstage, it doesn't let him show up, or maybe he needs to just jump on or try again. But I'll try one more time here, see if this.
With that being said, who here is excited about new projects and all that, huh?
Definitely.
Yeah, one of my favorite things.
Oh, yeah, I think it's time, guys, that we have a way to bring projects on board and vet everything along the way, so we don't have calamities and rug pulls and things like that.
Oh, God. Absolutely. One of the number one things about the Forge that originally when Mark showed the idea to me was that launch pads are great in bull runs when you're trying to, get in early enough, right, to a coin where you can really make money. However, the rug pulls are absolutely wild, right? It's way too common. And so you can't really trust a whole lot going in there. But when it comes to the Forge, you got Curator helping out with that, reviewing these projects going through. It's like, is this trustworthy, right? Don't know, right? Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Maybe it's a project that people really don't want. It's just a really good way to try and separate, the rug pulls from the actual legit projects. But then not only that, but also separate the maybe stupid ones that we really don't want or we don't need, right, to the ones that really are needed on Pulse Chain. So it's a fantastic idea, and I'm all on board for it.
Me too, man.
Cool. So yeah, we're a little bit leaderless on the stream now, huh? With Max gone. So.
Well, yeah, it's okay. But Derek, you and Roger, I don't know, maybe Roger could do the pitch.
Yeah, well, he's trying to get on here, but essentially we're developing a social betting platform where you can create an event and have people bet on it. So it could be influencer versus influencer or chain versus chain, that kind of thing. So you can place bets and timelines and, have communities bring things to the table that people want to, like an event, and then you would get a share of the profits for coming up with an event. So Roger has the more polished version than that, but essentially that's what we're trying to do. To make something fun, bring people in from other chains, Eric Wall versus Richard Hart event, Trump versus Biden. It doesn't matter what it is, but you can go ahead and, create an event. If you got an event placed on the platform, you would get 1% of the profits, that type of thing. So Roger, you want to take over from here and go into
man.
polished bits and now that I have.
Yeah, definitely. So, hi everybody. Betonpulse.com is what we've got up and running for a little landing page to kind of give a look and feel for what we're going for. Derek said it right. I was listening on while I was in the waiting room. It's a social betting platform. That's exactly what it is. So to engage and incentivize a community where things are always interesting, we thought it would be very cool to have token holders be able to propose different events they want to bet on. Like, for instance, how many followers is Richard Hart going to have on January 1st, 2025 at the beginning of next year? And, and then people can take their position on, is it going to be over or under? Who's going to win the next political, election? The great thing is we don't have to come up with the creative ideas. The community does. And then the community votes on the ideas that kind of rise to the top, that get the most votes, that are the most interesting. Those are the ones that get approved on the platform, and then people can take a position on it, on how they want to predict the outcome. While they're doing that, earning staking rewards while they're staking it, and waiting on the outcome. And if they're on the winning side, get the rewards. If they're on the losing side, then they get hammered and lose all of their money because dumbass, don't be one. And so that's it's just a social betting platform, just trying to make it fun. And I think that them pitching the ideas and then being able to, that kind of incentivizes them. If their pitch wins as a proposed predicted event, they get, for instance, 1% of all the bets that take place once it's called creating a predictive market, a predicted market event. So
anyway, can you maybe share the screen, and because you put together a pretty cool website for it already, right?
Oh, so yeah, definitely.
It would be really cool to look at.
We're trying to take smack talking to the blockchain. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, exactly. Organized smack talk. All right, let's see.
Also, while you're trying to bring it up, I want to mention, it was really Derek and Roger and me had a call last week just to get to know each other, and ideas came up, and we, got some feedback on it and everything. And then Roger put all of this together since then. So things can happen very quickly, I think, when people come together like that and start making it happen.
Absolutely. And, and again, this is just to conceptualize and get an idea of a direction that it can head. But what we love about what you guys are doing with Curator, the Forge, and this kind of incubator launchpad is the resources and the exposure to an idea that kind of plant the seed, see where the interest is, and then have the guidance and not having to know every single answer. Because that's the challenge. Like, there's a lot to know, and to be able to launch a token properly. And we don't like to do things half-assed. So
exactly.
But yeah, so the site basically predict and profit. I don't know how many people are familiar with the decentralized prediction community, but essentially they can be monitored a couple of different ways. Once you get an approved, predictive event that can that people can take a bet on and take places, it actually can be decentralized oracles can verify the information. And then the rewards are automatically dispersed and distributed based off of, decentralized information. So it kind of helps keep everything transparent and on the up and up. and those are some of the things that we have to kind of figure out with the inner workings of how the systems will go. But yeah, essentially, we wanted to definitely be Pulse Chain first. That's why betonpulse.com is kind of the play on words, because we wanted to, be to bring people into Pulse Chain, and we thought it'd be really cool that if we did take cross chain bets, to allow them to bridge these things into the community, but definitely open to ideas on how to accomplish that. Because we're definitely,
let's see the whole page, right? You have quite a bit to scroll.
Yeah, absolutely. So how it works? Just community members propose events. Based on the events proposed, token holders can vote on it. The approved events get added. So onto the platform, you'll be able to see two sections. One will be where all of the proposed predictive outcomes are, which are the things that people can bet on, and who proposed it, how many votes it's gotten. It'll have a little write-up. So when someone wants to submit an event that they think would be interesting for people to bet on, they'll fill out a little proposal form, criteria, and then that gets published to our platform, which people can click on the different ideas and vote on the ones that they want to. So token holders would be able to get to vote, and then people that have a certain number of tokens, we don't know what the criteria would be. Those would be the ones that can actually propose the events to be bet on. But once they've been proposed and the top ones that have been voted on, they would go live on the platform, and then people would be able to pick an outcome and decide how much they'd like to wager on that outcome. And then either through a decentralized oracle at the time or a board or a mix of that, the verified outcome would be, decided, and then the rewards would be distributed to the winning token holders. And so that's kind of the high level overview of how the flow would work. And then we wanted to think of a few ways to profit. So again, we want to encourage interesting bets. This whole thing works because, like Derek mentioned at the beginning, it's social betting. We want it to be an engaged social event. So we want to encourage really interesting ideas, like outside of the box things that people just latch onto. Maybe it's Pulse-centric stuff, or maybe it's just out of the box, but make a proposal that gets activated. Every single bet or wager that's placed on that event, when the outcome is rewarded, 1% of that total gets rewarded to the person that proposed the bet, regardless of whether or not they even make a wager. So that would be
Roger, let's do another 2 minutes or so, and then let's get some feedback from the community, if that's okay.
Oh, absolutely. I'm pretty much. I'm more interested in hearing what you guys, but I know we've got to give you enough to get your teeth into. So,
I think let's see the rest of the page as well. So because we've got a little bit more, and then let's see who wants to jump in and give their feedback. Maybe we can have hands up who's really into the idea, and then see what people say.
Yeah. And so the other ways is, while people are placing their wager, they can actually earn rewards. They're staking while they're staking a particular outcome. So there can definitely be that component to it. And then obviously, predicting the proper outcome, right? If you're accurate on what you place your wager on, then you get obviously the rewards for making the right bet. And the community, just again, social interaction, networking and education, exclusive access, airdrops. We kind of want to see where the community takes it and fill in those benefits as needed. I'm definitely open to ideas on how to build that community. And then definitely want to have a Telegram and advisory board. Like I made up some quotes. Randy, his made up quote said, "PulseBet is exactly what this community needs to shake things up." So that was a fabricated quote. Mark said, "This project has limitless potential. Looking forward to being part of the journey." He said that. So I appreciate those fake quotes. And then, we were going to have just some things around, decentralized prediction markets and and what it kind of doing a deep dive to people that are interested in the inner workings of how PulseBet's going to be driven. So anyway, that's the pitch.
Thanks a lot. Pretty awesome. First of all, should we show some hands? Who's excited about this? Or I'm pretty excited.
Nice.
Maybe to keep things a bit organized, we think maybe we can do up to 3 people can give their feedback for 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, and then we take it from there. Who would like to? Who has some burning? Randy, please go ahead.
Yeah, I like it, especially that solid X and nope at the bottom. That's pretty hot. But one thing I really like, and I think this could be a cool feature, is that when you do place money on a bet, that while your money is sitting there, and say that it takes 12 months for that bet to mature, while your money is sitting there, you're actually earning rewards, like locking up your money. And I think that is something no one's ever thought of. And if that's actually a feature, if it's not, then that should be freaking added, man, because then people are locking up their money to place these bets, and while it's just like cha-ching, cha-ching, so they're earning. So even if they lose, they still made something.
Right. They're only going to lose their initial contribution, but they'll still have rewards on top of that.
Yeah, that'd be so cool. So that is what I see here.
Yeah,
Nice. Nate, you had your hand up as well, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Actually, I just kind of want, so like in Curator or the Forge, right? This is what I would end up writing out. This is actually pretty important, and here's the reasons why. So narratives are what drives cycles, right? And so if right now we have a narrative called GameFi, right? It's for gaming. However, there's a sector of gaming that people don't really realize is a thing, and that's called gambling. Okay. So what this is right here is this is actually playing to the narratives that not only people on Pulse Chain, are going to want, right? But it's also going to be other people who are outside of Pulse Chain. This is actually something that we can advertise as like, hey, we got a gambling thing right here where you can go take bets on, if Vitalik is going to lower the gas fees or not, right? So yeah, you can go ahead and do things like that. So I just wanted to comment on how this is narratively for this cycle a very big thumbs up for me.
I want to throw in there quickly. There's also the Olympics and the European Cup coming up, so quite heavy betting opportunities that this could be branded with. So
I like it.
Is anyone else? Patrick, Crypto Rookies, please.
Yes, I'd like to understand a little bit more the APY. You mentioned 28%. Like, is it predicted APY, or it's that's really that
was about as valuable as the fabricated Randy quote. Don't put much stock into that. My apologies. Much smarter people than I will be able to determine what a proper APY is and how the contract is written up. That's so sorry for that.
Yeah, I think that the proper APY should be dynamic. It's a prediction. Like, if you always make it fixed from the start, then you don't know what is the market adoption. And then how do you generate that yield in the first place? If you just give a percentage of your supply, that is your project, you need to generate the yield. And from the stake, like what Randy, I think, mentioned, if people stake for a year, what do you do? Is the money just kept in the smart contract, or you use it to generate yield on top of that stake from DeFi instrument? If you do that, that's where the yield comes from.
Oh, that's great. Well, one of the ideas, and correct me if this isn't going towards the direction you're asking, but one of the ideas is to take the because each bet there's going to be a percentage point or whatever it may be that obviously 1% goes to the person that created the proposed event, right? And then there's going to be a platform fee, right, that gets generated. And we had some ideas on potentially burning some of the tokens from the fee generated, and then also contributing that to staking rewards or different rewards for token holders, just from the fee generated from the bets that come through the platform.
But honestly, we're looking for feedback on that 100%.
But I would say this would be too low. Because if you have 10,000 stakers to take a bet, they don't take the stake and unstake and stake and unstake. So the fee will never be enough to cover the stake for the stakers because it's their own money that they staked with. So what you would need to do is do some sort of DeFi instrument, like if you have like $10,000 worth of Pulse token, you can generate yield from that if you put it in some yield farming or other type of staking mechanism and market making, things of that nature. So that's where you could generate enough to be worth it for the stakers.
Right.
But taking a fee, like if I collect my own fee, it's still very limited. It's not, you cannot
Right.
produce more unless someone stake and end up losing a lot.
Right.
Yeah, the 1% fee makes sense when people trade a lot, but not if it's a one-time transaction and then you leave it there for a long time.
Right. Yeah. Definitely. That's great. That's great feedback. I think that what happens when the money is staked and what can be promised for an APY is just going to be, we're definitely open to feedback and ideas on the best setup for that.
I think for me, I've done a lot of yield farming and market making, and depending on the project, you can do like maybe 10% per year to 10% per month. So it depends how you process your risk and all that stuff. So
would that change? Would that change from kind of week to week or month to month, or would that just be something you set up? Okay, so
that varies.
We would almost have an advisory board that would be that maybe we could work with that could help us, that we would maybe check in with weekly or monthly to kind of determine what the staked outcomes should be put into.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. And the other thing that I really like about this is if you make a bet on a new project that comes out about whatever the project is about, you can actually use the bet as a community building tool to promote like a new project launch of some sort. So that's interesting.
Yeah. So we can build it into the Forge actually. Yeah, it becomes very nice.
I like how you.
I want to quickly here just mention a few things. So again, for anyone who's watching the stream, you guys can jump onto the stream and pitch your idea as well and get the feedback here. But also, it's very important that we want to build teams around the project. So the rules are a little bit. You can either at the end of the stream, we will mention the contact details for every project, and you can contact people directly and say, hey, I have this or that quality I could offer. So if it's tokenomics, it can be that, or if it's marketing. But you can also come on here and say, hey, I'm interested in joining this team, and give your opinion about it, or leave it in the comments as well. So we just want to give any opportunity for people to say, I'm interested to join this and help make it happen.
And Roger, you want to explain the odds part of it, because people are going to be jumping in from either side of the bet, and it might get lopsided in how we were going to navigate that.
Yeah, and actually, we're definitely open to different ideas and feedback on how that can be built into the contract. But essentially, what we're looking at is if you take an outcome that, like, let's say the election, Biden or Trump, right? It's just an easy one for everyone to understand. So obviously, there's polling, there's data that comes out. The farther away you are from the event, the better odds that you can get on making the prediction. The closer you get to the event, your odds for the same amount of bet, you're going to get less of a return. So we want to look into a way to dynamically update the odds based on the amount of bets coming through and the time as it gets closer to the event, to figure out how to build that in. So that is one of the things that we want to solve and have a protocol around that.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. So I think we need to move on to the next pitch. But thanks, Roger and Derek. I think that was a great first pitch to get everything going. Right. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having us. And just so we can go down in history, we were the very first pitch ever.
Love
so people are always going to say, "What was that first one? Were they a success?" They're going to want to know.
Let's make it a success.
We will. We will.
Okay.
Thanks for having us.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
We'll mention it again at the end, and then we'll vote a little bit while we carry on. But for now, maybe Apex Hex, did you want to bring up your idea?
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you.
What's going on? So it's a pretty simple concept. I keep reading and seeing online of people wanting to be able to stake Pulse, but they don't have the means to run a validator. It's not that easy to run a validator. Well, it is if you know what you're doing, but for Joe Blow, you have to be able to run commands on your computer terminal and this and that. You have to have 32 million, which is today I think like $2,100, give or take 2 Gs. So then if you don't have a computer that's capable of running it, you have to get the little validator box. I think is $1,000 to $2,000. So, which is great. It's really good for the ecosystem, but for the average person who doesn't want to have to deal with that, because there's also penalties. If you run a validator and you're at work and your internet goes down, you're getting taxed. Like you're getting penalized. So actually, Brandon from Rags to Riches is the one who helped me come up with this idea. We were talking about it, the creator of Text and Token, and it's essentially it would be a pulse farm. So, for example, let's just call it Pulse Farm for the fun of it. I don't know, maybe this idea already exists. But essentially, let's say right now the APY, I think last time I looked, it was 9.9. So let's call it 10% just for fun. So you'd have a Pulse Farm token. You would buy that token, and you would go into a smart contract where that gets locked up and sent to a validator, and where it starts printing yield. And then when you go to remove that yield, there would be a fee. I haven't come up with the number yet. Let's say you call it 10% total, and you take that 10% divided by 2. 5% goes to a Pulse buy and burn. That way, every time somebody takes their validator offline, they are helping the community, and then 5% would go to the token, the Pulse Farm token, to buy and burn that. So it's a pretty simple idea, but I think it would make farming a lot easier for people, because you see people all the time, I'll stake Hex, but I want to stake Pulse, but I don't know how to do a validator, and I don't want to do double-sided staking because of impermanent loss, or there's all kind of factors that come into it. So like I said, pretty simple pitch, and that's basically the gist of it.
Thanks a lot. So who would like to, first of all, who's excited about the idea? Let's have a little informal. Thank you, Apex X. Who wants to?
I've got a question, if you could answer. As far as this idea is concerned, what portions of your team are you looking to add to the team?
I'm up for everything. Like I said, I talked to Brandon, and he told me he would be happy to put me in with the hook me up with the Texan devs, but I haven't taken it to that step yet. Like right now, I'm just doing the proper research, and I'm open to all ideas.
So, kind of what you're talking about then, Jeff, is you're trying to create the ability for people to be able to single side stake Pulse, and then any taxes that get taken out of that are going to be literally just burned. So that way you're kind of offsetting any sort of like inflation on the Pulse side, right?
Correct. So instead of making the 10% APY, they'd be making 9% APY. But for making 1% less, that's going to go to a buy and burn to help the entire ecosystem.
So that buy and burn is a forever buyer, by the way.
Correct.
So even though you're not seeing, oh man, that's actually really cool. So not only are you so you're not getting like say 15%, instead you're getting 9%, and it's like, okay, well that's not as good. I'd rather want the 15%. No, because that in between number right there that you're taking out of there is actually going to a permanent buyer of your coin. So therefore your coin, just by holding it in that yield, is actually just going up as well. That's literally a forever up.
Correct. It's still, even though you're not getting that extra smaller percentage, it's still inadvertently helping your gains, because it's going towards the coin that you hold.
Okay, so that's actually wild then, because you're not just getting that 9%. Now it's your entire bag that is going up. So that means you don't have to stake that. The stuff that's not staked anymore literally is still going up because you are staked with the smaller amount.
Basically, yeah. Every time you would
That's
go
wild.
on the smart contract and end your smart contract, this is all just theory that I came up with. Every time you would end the smart contract, that's when the tax would happen. So let's say you had 32 million coins, or no, you don't need 32 million. So let's say you had a million coins. Boom, 10%, that's 10 G's. Then you would take out of that 10 G's, you take 1% away, and half of that 1%, so 0.5, would go to the Pulse buy and burn, just buy, burnt, gone forever, and then half would go to the Pulse Farm token as an incentive, for people to use it. So it's helping you all the way around, and I think it would help the entire ecosystem also.
Massively. So can you please do that so that way you can pump my bags, please?
Try my best.
I like it because the non-techie old fogies out here who have very large bags of Pulse, they're looking to do something. I just had a breakfast today with a 75-year-old friend of ours who doesn't want to do farming and stuff because he said it's too difficult. He doesn't want to deal with that. If he could just do a couple clicks, he'd be all for it. So cool.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I also got to it, because I work during the day, and I want to have. I'm like a hex maxi, but when I say maxi, I love Pulse and Pulse X also. I'm the ecosystem maxi, but I stake my hex is staked, but I would love, instead of my Pulse just sitting there not earning me any yield, and me having to be at work and worrying about if my internet goes off or my power shuts off, I'm losing money. Instead of having to worry about that, it kind of takes it out of your control where it's no longer a concern.
All right, great.
Very nice. Do we have anyone else who wants to give a last feedback on the idea?
I think you might want to toy with the name Farmers Only.
Yeah, that's number two.
I also want to mention, so at the very end of the stream, we would like to invite all the viewers to post their 2 favorite projects in the comments. And that's going to be a bit of the informal voting. We'll then take those projects and submit them to the Forge and kind of guide them along a little bit as the projects that we incubate. Of course, anyone else can still submit their own ideas and get feedback, but those will just be the ones that we shepherd a little bit. Right. So please keep that in mind. And, at the end, please post your favorite projects. So let's move on. Maybe Crypto Rookies, you had something to present as well?
Sure. So I'll present my own project, and maybe I'll present a project of one of my customers, because he could not join today, but I can mention it. I'll share my screen. Let's see if it works. Okay. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So we're working on this staking pad. Instead of a launch pad where you buy pre-sale of token, and the minute you buy like a token in a pre-sale with a discount, you're kind of breaking the SEC rules about the expectation of profit. So a staking pad, it's kind of that you look for a project that you like, let's say this one, and then you stake, let's say it could be Pulse, it could be whatever token that is accepted there. And then the yield is sacrificed. And that's much more in line with the Pulse and the X community. So you recover your stake eventually once the project launch, but in meanwhile, you sacrifice your yield to support the project and financing them to basically build whatever they are building to launch. So this is how basically what we are building right now with the staking pad. And you're basically just staking and then accumulating points, and the points will give you some additional rewards. In this case, this project, they enable you to create landing page for Web3 project with like smart contract connected to that. It's kind of like a WordPress for Web3 project. So you would get maybe like a free landing page if you were to unlock enough points by staking onto them. So you get some rewards by doing this, and you're supporting the project and all that stuff. And in order to make it even more SEC compliant, is that all of the stake is managed by us as an entity. And because we are not giving yield to the stakers, that means that there's no expectation of profit on the stake itself. There's some regulation onto it. We have a lawyer on the team that helped us with that, but it's not covered by the SEC rules, basically. So that means that you just lock your token. You're not getting financial returns, but meanwhile you're supporting a project that you'll get access to when they launch, and you get some non-financial reward in some sense. So what I would like is to bring this to the Pulse community and maybe integrate that kind of staking mechanism onto the Forge itself, because you already have that kind of NFT staking and all that stuff. But this is another different way to generate income for the project so that you don't have to finance it yourself. Because if I buy an NFT and then the money of the NFT goes to finance the project, in a sense, you sacrifice your capital. In this case, you don't sacrifice your capital, you just sacrifice the yield generated. And in this case, I would have multiple staking vaults of different risk level. And I think some of them could be put on what the previous project before me, like the validator project with about 10% yield per year. That could be a very low risk staking vault. Meanwhile, you could have more risky vault where you could potentially lose your capital. And that's what I've been doing for the past 2 years, doing asset management and like a market making, is that I do this on various centralized exchange, sometimes decentralized. But I use grid bots and I use leverage and I generate yield. Typically speaking, on a normal market situation, I do about 10% per month on the capital with the 10x leverage, but there's a bit of risk of that. And then in a bull market, like I did 75% in the last 75 days. So that's basically 1% per day at the moment, so about 30% per month. But there's risk in this case. So that's the thing. I would give the option for people to choose the staking vault that they prefer based on the risk that they want to absorb. And I think the more risk, the more yield, the more points you collect. And I think I would like to integrate this into the Forge as a slightly different way to support the various projects that will launch.
Very interesting. A quick question for me. So these rewards, if I support a project, I ultimately should get tokens from that project, I'm assuming.
I will never say that publicly.
Okay. Okay, good.
But, I mean,
okay. Does anyone want to comment or have a question?
I'll say
Please,
something.
Randy.
These are the creative ways that I love crypto being used for. You know, it's always, people are always talking about how, look, you guys know I'm not a big fan of Gov, and you know I'm a Star Wars fan because I like the good and evil fight, and we're out there watching these movies, the good and evil, and the good's always winning in the end because they're creative, coming up with new ideas and creative things like what's happening with this. So I applaud it. This is the kind of shit I love. So thank you.
yeah, that's thing. It's selling tokens to finance your operation and your development. It's a slippery slope because you allocated a certain amount of token already, and then once you launch, if market adoption is low, and people start to sell the token after vesting, you could get in trouble. With this system of staking, we know exactly because the yield that got generated can be used to support an airdrop if there's one, for example. Not to say that there would be, but let's say that there's one. We know exactly after the fact how much we can afford to give to support as an airdrop because we have the liquidity for it, because it was generated from the staking aspect of the yield. So that's the way you never shoot yourself in the foot pre-selling token without knowing your market adoption. And
I think that's a very interesting.
If your development is 8 months, like some project like a Singularity Net, they've been in development for 3 years or more. So some development cycle are so long that it's much better served with a staking mechanism as opposed to launching the token live at the beginning. MetaMask, they haven't launched the token yet, and they've been in use for many years. That's what we're talking about. You could build your community and give them some financial reward while financing yourself without having to sell token early. You just do that. You postpone it as long as possible because you could do it with staking and the yield generated that is sacrificed. This way, the stakers don't feel that they lost their initial capital necessarily. They just sacrifice some opportunity cost, which is not so bad.
I personally, I never, it's dawning on me now. I mean, that's a very interesting point that normally a project raises funds and then it has a runway, right? 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. But if people just lock up their tokens and you have some amount of yield that you more or less generate every month, you don't technically have a runway, right? You can just go. If you probably, this yield is going to go up and down a little bit, I'm assuming, depending on the performance of the investments, right? But at least that should give much more continuity to a project and stability than having this kind of funding wall approaching. I really like that part a lot.
Yeah, because sometimes there's delay, and you sometimes have to postpone a bit the token launch for the right time. In the meantime, you still want to build your community and operate and get some money somehow from somewhere. And if you don't want to use VC money, and I would recommend not, because I don't know if you guys followed what happened to EigenLayer. It's a massive scandal right now. Like the VC are basically dumping potentially on a lot of retail users that locked $15 billion had been locked for like almost a year. It's an horrible situation in their case. So you don't want to get into that, having to rely on VC money to finance your development.
So the way that usually, when it comes to like VCs and projects and all that, the way that you would usually do that is have like a token allocation schedule. All right. So it's not like you get all the tokens right away. It's usually like, a little bit here, a little bit there, and it's spaced out over the course of like years. Now, obviously, usually you can take a look at any sort of project or chain and look at the VCs and what they put in there and what the allocations are going to be throughout the amount of time, and kind of figure out when things are going to dump and when things are going to pump. But how does this fix that?
Because the thing let's say that assuming you get the airdrop, we know exactly how much yield was generated in the meantime, and we know exactly how much of that yield remains to finance the airdrop. This way, we don't need necessarily any vesting at all. You could dump, but then the liquidity are there to absorb that selling pressure from the start. I think that is assuming that your burn rate is below the yield that is generated. I think if you generate 10% per year, that just means that your TVL needs to be that much bigger. But for example, EigenLayer had $15 billion of TVL. So even with a 10% APY, it's a massive amount of money. And in their case, they just mismanaged. And then they give the opportunity to the early VCs to exit before the people who get the airdrop, which was ridiculous the way they managed it. But that's basically how you fix that stuff. Yeah.
Great, thanks a lot. Should we? Maybe you have another project you said you wanna, but maybe in the meantime, you guys, is Chrissy? Do you have a project you want to talk about? Or?
Hi, Mark. How's it going? It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, going really well. Yeah. Thank you.
I see that. Yeah, bravo, man. This is getting awesome. Yeah, Forge is really building momentum with people getting the attention on it. And honestly, it's like the people I'm seeing here is a lot of the leaders and people who have loud voices here in the community who's coming together to really make sure the community is safe. So thanks again for that, for building this for us, because it's needed, it's necessary. So yeah, I'm part of the the Genius community, as you know, and we already have launched. I think we're on day 501 today, and we're going through upgrades. And I guess I'm here to really ask what, because I know we have the Forge, and then we have Curator, where the Curators where projects is already finished, already have reputable sources and running well. So Genius, it sounds like, would be better apt over there. But when it comes to like upgrades, still in the process of audits, new parts of the projects, new features, things like that. When projects are growing and evolving that have those kind of opportunities, because Genius is more like a framework that have multiple contracts, smart contracts in it. So I wanted to see how we could work with the Forge when it comes to the newer stuff, because I think, and I wanted to bring that up so other, so people can really see what the Forge can do with projects that are already around and growing like we are.
It's a good question, and it is almost a bit of a how you call it, an edge case, right? Where you do want to get input from the community. So the special thing about the Forge is that projects can give some of their tokens, right? So when a project comes in, it should give a percentage of their tokens applied to encourage the community to give feedback, and it will be shared over NFT holders, analysts, investors, and so forth. Normally, a project would want to do that because they want to fundraise at the end of it. So that's why you would use the Forge. So do you want to fundraise for some of these new features and upgrades? Yes.
Absolutely. That's what we're doing that already as a community, but also this would give opportunity, because what we're also doing is in our NFTs. And if you'd like, I can share the screen too. I'd love to show you some of the features that we have coming up.
Sure,
we're doing collaborations with other. Right now, we're focused more on Pulse Chain. We're on 5 networks. We're on Polygon, Avalanche, Ethereum, Binance, and Pulse Chain. But of course, right now we're focusing on Pulse Chain projects that we are willing to collaborate with. We already have some that's already vetted, but we want to use the Forge or Curator to bring other projects in as well, because we know that they're, the community has spoken, in other words, to be able to give them the opportunity to, hey, go ahead and make an NFT that's a collab. Our NFTs have use in it. That way we can all, all work together, because Pulse Chain's not going to do too much if we all are just sitting in our own little corners, So we're very open-minded about collabing with other projects as well. Here, let me share my screen. Share screen.
And while you're sharing that, can I ask a question really quick? I'll pull that
Of
up
course.
here when you get it. Out of the smart contracts that are already released on Genius, which ones do you guys find people being attracted to and relating to the most?
Genius is like I said, a framework. So when they use the app, it's going to be up to them what their attention and intentions are, and that's where the AI starts picking that up and starts responding to. So it's a great question, but I wouldn't have the answer on what's being more focused on. I think the end goal is everyone wants to make money and everybody wants to earn, and it's working.
So I haven't heard too much buzz from Genius, right? Guinea?
Yeah, Jenny or Genius. Yes.
Genius
AI.
Genius AI. So how long ago did you guys launch?
501 days ago.
501 days. Okay. So right now, AI, it's actually starting to die down just a little bit, but AI is a huge narrative. I'd be throwing that AI name around absolutely everywhere, because just the fact that you have AI in it means that people are automatically going to ape. So how has your Pulse Chain, how has your Pulse Chain success been compared to like other chains?
Pulse Chain's the higher performer right now.
That just means we're smart over here.
You know what? It doesn't surprise me, because, we understand smart contracts a lot more than some other chains do at this point. So let me see here. Entire screen. Allow. So here is the upgrades. This is a geni.to/upgrades. This is page 3 on new functionality, and really just shows like there's going to be blockchain trusts where people will be able to authorize individuals from losing their access to one wallet and allowing another wallet to gain control. There's improvement, developer documentation, special accounts, Genius grantors. They call that a co-access account. Some other unlocked features that I'm excited about, and what I was talking about with the NFTs, is there's a subscription ability where Genius must have an active NFT subscription to the contract in order to activate the abilities. So they have to take the NFT and put it in the incinerator, and it has this awesome graphic when you do that. So there's different things that where you're going to be able to scrape your earnings. You're going to be able to extend your miner. Also, you can cancel your miner within 24 hours, and that's just to name a few things of what you're going to be able to do with Genius NFTs, their uses. You can also, right now, before the upgrades, you're able to go into the royalty receiver, have a subscription, and go ahead and pull out from the royalty receiver and get some extra Jenny from there. So we have quite a bit going on with the NFTs, the GenFTs, and you'll be able to look at this in more detail. Also, Pulse Revision and I, and also Shades, we had along with InvestX, we had a long discussion. I think it was like 3 hours that we had, where we did an interview that more deep dove into Genius. So I'm kind of skipping that part for you guys so you can do your research on it. But these GenFTs, I absolutely want to encourage more projects that's on Pulse Chain to hop in, work with us, and get these collabs going. So when people do look more at Genius, because we're a blue chip, we've got a lot of things going on here as a token. We want to be able to promote you guys and vice versa too. Yeah,
I'm kind of curious. What does the AI do? It's not clear to me that.
The AI, I definitely we did that whole deep dive already. I'm going to go ahead and that's why I have Robert here. I got Robert Janito. He's one of the inventors of Genius, so he can go ahead and give you a little rundown on that. I had my backup come with me today. Let me go ahead and cancel out my.
Does that mean I can unmute myself, guys?
Yeah.
Hey, first of all, I want to say what Forge is doing here is like super necessary, and the fact that Pulse Chain has this, this is pretty huge. So, Mark and all, thank you a ton. I care a lot. I care a lot about Pulse Chain, especially since it's freedom focused. You know, there's been a ton of attack on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and such, anything freedom wise. So the fact that Pulse Chain has that in its ecosystem, this is huge, and this is very important. As you saw with Binance was attacked like crazy with like scam coins, rug pulls, etc., like crazy. And sure, that's happening in many other blockchains. And so to have this incubator and curator kind of thing here, this is so important. So AI, I just really wanted to say that because sometimes people forget how important that is. So I really wanted to highlight that. Genius AI, Chrissy, thanks for mentioning that. Thank you guys for having us all here to talk about that. Well, for one example with Genius AI is, so buy and burn, right, is like something that people are very familiar with. Buy and burn has measurable effects, and it's really important, right? And so everyone knows that buy and burn at this point. Genius has something even better. There's no real name for it, but think of it like sell and burn. So the Genius AI has its own wallet. It's gone under many names, but basically the Genius AI has its own wallet, and you can sell your Genius tokens to this AI wallet instead of selling it to like Uniswap or selling it to PulseX, Piteus, etc., 9inch. You can also sell not only to the open market, but you sell to the Genius AI. And the Genius AI doesn't need that Genius token at all. It doesn't have liabilities. It doesn't need to pay people, etc. So it'll burn that supply that is sold, and the user gets they pay less gas to get native tokens or to get stablecoin collateral, etc. That's one example of the AI.
Okay.
But the
So
AI is,
when
there's a lot on it. Let's just say that.
okay, so when you say that it's AI, it's
Yeah,
it's not
there's
not
also a
really
point where
art.
Genius users are looking forward to where we call it phase 3, and it's something to look into. The more you guys look into Genius, the more the AI ends up picking up on people's actions and such.
I don't know if my
The
connection
more
is
they
okay.
pick up on their actions and such, and the more it learns, of course, the more it benefits the whole ecosystem and as a whole.
Is my connection functional? Are you guys able
Yeah,
to
we hear
hear?
you. You're just fine.
Okay. Like, so when you use the word AI, do you mean that it's built on AI algorithm like a LSTM or a neural network of some sort, or things like that, or it has nothing to do with AI technology per se?
Yeah, Genius is, so for those who are very knowledgeable about the AI space, Genius acts as a reactive machine with limited learning, and sort of like, you know how people have many stakes or many miners. All of the miners act as like a memory for the economy's state. So every time somebody creates a miner or ends a miner or creates a stake or ends a stake, that forms as like a type of memory to memorize where its economy was at in basic terms. So yeah, it's a reactive machine. It works via algorithms, and it's also a limited memory type of machine. But yeah, it's full on AI. You look at you look at I guess you can say the institutional knowledge and education on what artificial intelligence is, and this is entirely Genius. Except for the whole like reading through terabytes of information, because as we all know, that'd be really expensive on the blockchain. Thanks for
I
asking,
do.
Crypto Rookie.
I do got a question. Am I allowed?
Sure, please. Let's maybe last question, and then
Okay.
after that, maybe we invite, if anyone's watching, can maybe come on with some ideas as well. So please, Nate, take it away.
Yep. Okay. So the idea of a buy and burn is basically kind of like taxes or fees, right? Every single time they're taken out, they go to this smart contract that automatically burns the tokens, and it's essentially an eternal buyer, right? So are you using a swap then? Is it like a Genius swap that then sends it to the AI, or because the only thing I really heard was like you need to make the choice to go send it to the AI, and then the AI will. So I guess I got a little bit confused on exactly what's happening there, and that's part one of the burn, right? But then part two is like, why would I, as a user, why would I want to do that rather than just have something that's like just a buy and burn, right? What is better about it?
That's a really good question. So in two parts, let me give you a simple metaphor. As we all know, economy and the value of something is supply versus demand, right? And what we've learned is, no matter how much you change the supply or rebase your token supply, that doesn't really equal demand, right? But of course, if there's a lot of demand, your supply, that can have an effect on the value. But so supply versus demand. Let's bring that in case. The Genius AI, here's a simple metaphor here. It's accurate, but here's an oversimplification. The Genius AI, every time you transact with the smart contract, the smart contract knows that it was valuable for you to do that, or maybe you were playing around and experimenting. So keep in mind that every transaction is valuable. Maybe it's valuable, measurable, like in the gas or whatever it is. But so first, the Genius AI wallet, right? It knows that you're not going to deposit collateral like native tokens. Let's just say native tokens. It incentivizes you to deposit collateral into the AI wallet. So, for example, let's say the whole reason somebody would use Genius, for example, is because they want to save for the future, right? They want to buy a token as a store of value and they stake it, right? So the AI wallet, if you deposit collateral into the AI wallet, it will also give you one of these stakes. So basically, you can make a stake with Genius token, or you can make a stake with native token, right? And the AI watching the transactions that happen figures out how to give a limited number of people a really good deal that day. So a really good deal by creating a miner not with Genius token, but with collateral. So that's step one. Step one is, okay, is it worth it for somebody to deposit collateral instead of creating a Genius miner with Genius token itself? And as people do that or don't do that, the AI changes its incentives. Basically, the AI wants it to be sexy for you to deposit collateral. It wants it to be economically worth it for you. And when somebody does that, it teaches the AI, okay, that was worth it. So then next, what's to do with that collateral, right? What's to do with that collateral? So think of this like Genius AI has its own in-contract liquidity. You can think of it this way. So when somebody puts up collateral to get a miner, someone can take that collateral. They can send their Genius to the contract, and in return, they get native tokens. So sort of like trading it or swapping their Genius token on, on PulseApp exchange. However, the Genius AI, of course, does not need that Genius token. Like when we sell to a liquidity pool, when we sell on Uniswap, sell on QuickSwap, whatever, someone else, the liquidity providers, they're receiving that Genius token, right? They're receiving that Genius token, or they're receiving Ink token, whatever token it is, they're receiving it. And they can go ahead and pull out their liquidity and sell it again. But here, if you're selling to the Genius AI token, it doesn't need that Genius and it burns it. So in the world of buy and burn, you have to have that benevolent actor, right? Or automated in some way actor who is benevolent and taking a hit each time. And that's okay. And then here in Genius on the other way around, that happens when people sell. If I may add one more really interesting point, I'd like to say Bitcoin taught a lot of us that money could be different. And DeFi is teaching us, DeFi and even NFTs are teaching us different ways that we can do things that we used to do, exciting ways. And Genius is showing people how an economy can be completely different. When you sell a bunch of tokens on the open market, the price goes down, right? When you sell a bunch of tokens to Genius AI, the price does not go down. In fact, the price rises. So anyways, this is all bizarre, different stuff, but key point is Genius AI is showing people that economy can work differently, and Genius AI is also showing people that that you can you can make algorithms today that can understand how economical a transaction was for somebody to do. Was it worth it for them to do that? And if you have an AI playing a game where it makes valid assumptions, an assumption like, with the tic-tac-toe AI, the AI makes the game rules as an assumption, and the AI makes an assumption that the other player wants to win, right? That the other player wants to play these rules better. The Genius AI assumes that people want to be economical, that people want to be efficient, that people want to be profitable. Now, granted, you do get edge case people who don't really care about something being economical and don't care to make money. But on the great majority, you see that people do.
So kind of what I'm getting out of this is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what I'm getting out of this is you're replacing ultimately miners for AIs. And these AIs, for the most part, are going to be smart contracts that learn what people would rather have, maybe lower gas fees, maybe a different type of token, maybe higher APR stakings, something like that. That's kind of what I'm getting. But the AI is the one who's learning it, what people would prefer to have, and so then it rewards better in those situations. And so I'm still getting kind of like a swap here. Is there some sort of swap going on?
Yeah, but I'd say take that. Say almost with what you're saying. Like you're following. You're definitely following. Genius itself, it's a programmable currency. but it's using artificial intelligence to. The whole reason
Yeah,
artificial
always
intelligence
learning.
is used is to gain influence over the token's own price, to gain influence over the token's own market price. Sort of like how a video game AI will strategize to defeat a player, based on some rules, right? So the AI, the data it uses is in the form of miners. When you create a miner, like you create a miner a year ago, and as you interact with that miner, the AI knows, okay, this miner was created a year ago. This is a snapshot of some of the AI's, parameters of what the economy looked like back then. And the goal is, well, how do we make those parameters better? People were willing to do these actions. How do we make that better?
Yeah.
I'd say, for someone like people here who dive deeply into things, you would all find very interesting a case study that was done. I'll put the link into the private room. It's jenny.to/vault study. Vault as in like a banking vault, and then study. So jenny.to/vault study. I put that into the private room. I'll post it into the chat as well. But check that out. That has a bunch of transactions, and it's like a case study on how Genius is forcing its own price to rise and forcing its token to have more value and ultimately gaining more influence over itself.
So just for everyone here, just to kind of like bring this down just a little bit, right? Bring it down a little level. Long story short, the AI is a computer program that will learn by writing its kind of like its own code of like, hey, this is something I learned. I'm going to go ahead and put this in. That's why it's artificial intelligence. But basically what the artificial intelligence is doing here is replacing a normal miner that some human being in the real life would have to do with its own with their own little setup. That's long and about as dumbed down as we can get for everyone else here, right?
Beautiful. That was beautiful, Nate. Thanks.
Pretty much.
Yeah. But yeah, reverting back, and thanks, Robert, for explaining that stuff and answering the questions. We have these upgrades coming for the NFTs. We want to collab with people. We want to use the Forge and Curator to help vet people, and also looking forward to any kind of input in the community, etc. But really just trying to get the raises done for what needs to get done with these upgrades. So,
but are you looking to make a bet on Richard Hart versus the SEC? That's the real question.
I already did. SEC is always the losers. Always.
All right. Take your
Always.
information. Take your
Forever and ever. Big L.
Thanks a lot, Chris. I mean, at the end of the stream, I'll actually screen share the Forge and show how you can submit the project, how anyone can come in and write reviews, how the reviews are going to be vetted, and since we're launching all of this today. So it'll be awesome to get that started. Maybe in the meantime, Max, did you see anyone? Does anyone from the viewers want to jump in and present an idea?
Yeah, I haven't seen anyone in chat yet. Good to see Paul Sachs and Crypto Compassion, Vets in Crypto, Adam from Vibra Finance, Crypto Bigfoot. Thanks for being here, guys. Yeah, it's every one of you will ruin your name working with Randy.
Oops.
It's too late now. But yeah, no, there's some funny ideas in chat, of course. And then Crypto Rookies has another project, and I was going to see if I could throw up our white paper if there's time. And if there's not, that's great too.
I just wanted to poke Nate quickly because he did mention he had an idea for a project some while back. Do you?
Yeah, it is something that I'm currently working on sort of developing, obviously because of the DJ Roundtable, expanding the way it is. It's so stupidly busy. Even my Ascending Man channel is kind of like taking a hit for that. But long story short, it's going to be, I want it to be a social media platform for crypto bros. And it's going to be very crypto friendly. I got to work. Obviously, there's a lot more details that are going to have to go into it. But yeah, as soon as I'm able to, I'm going to be working on that. So Look forward. Stay tuned.
Okay, very nice. Randy, did you have anything in your head that you want to throw out, or you're muted, I think.
I just really appreciate this. I appreciate what we have, with the Forge, and looking forward to voting on a lot of stuff. And yes, I do have right now the top spot for NFTs, and I've had them for a while. It's just I'm just waiting patiently, and my community is waiting patiently. And a lot of haters out there, but my charts, my charts, kind of give them the middle finger. So, cheers to that.
Awesome, thank you. Well, yeah, in that case, I think maybe Crypto Rookies, if you want to present the other project, and then it would be great if you can go through Max through your light paper as well, and then we can wrap it up.
Okay, I'll make that one quick. You've probably seen recently the SEC attacking Uniswap as well. So that's the problem in crypto, is that the database itself on the blockchain, that's relatively safe because it's decentralized. But when it comes to a web stack where you have like some staking or like some interaction with the UI, all of that web stack usually run on AWS or some cloud infrastructure of some sort. It's not decentralized yet. So this project, Web3 onboarding, is building kind of a WordPress for Web3. So it's a no-code platform where you can build landing page, maybe staking contracts and all that kind of stuff like that related to the blockchain itself. And it deploys it and hosts it onto a decentralized network. So this way your CSS, your JavaScript, your entire web stack can run on chain, basically. And it's kind of like a decentralized web service and hosting and all of that stuff. So this way, it will be very much harder for the SEC to come and attack you and try to shut down your web interface with your blockchain, basically.
Wow. Can you share any screen for it or something? Would love to see.
It's under development, so yeah, I don't have much to share. And next week, if there's another meeting like this, I can try to arrange for the CEO to come talk about it.
Okay, awesome. I quite like that. Again, that's something that could go together with the Forge, where Apex Hex, for example, could develop the first website for the idea. Many projects can do that, so that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, sounds good.
Anyone else want to comment on this idea? I agree with proof of no work.
Cool. Hey, I just want to jump in here really quick and say thanks for all this, the viewers on YouTube and on X. Share this out. I can't thank these guys enough for showing up on my channel and hosting this. This has been an honor to host these ideas and really focus on building in the market rather than drama in the market. So thank you very, very much. And I'm going to jump into my white paper really quickly and just give you guys the elevator pitch, take any questions you guys might have. And then I'll throw it back to Mark, and he'll tell us where we go from here and what streams to look forward to and how to engage with this. So let me share this right here. There we go. And I'm probably frozen as always. So let me go back and unfreeze my little camera here. There we go. Okay, great. So here we go. We got the anti-gravity white paper. Anti-gravity is a project that's basically where we're putting art and story together with a token and also an NFT system. So if you will, it's a threesome that everyone's invited to. And we've went with the space theme and a sci-fi novel that we are baking the tokenomics into, because anyone who is around for remembers the weeks that we spent understanding Hedron, and then we spent weeks understanding Icosa, and then you had to basically lock yourself in a room for 3 days just to wrap your heads around What's which is a really, really interesting NFT. and that's also one of the places that we took our inspiration from. But basically, the problem that we're trying to solve is market volatility and unbearable bear markets. Like, this bear market has kicked everyone's ass, and we're looking for ways that we can combat some of that volatility and some of those bear markets with engagement through the community and tokenomics that people haven't tried combining before, at least that we've seen. So the tokenomics that we're trying to put together are the token supply. There's a limited token supply of 1 million dark tokens. And through the other parts of this process, we're going to try to make those tokens scream. We're going to try to create the biggest token crisis anyone's ever seen. In fact, there will actually be a day in the future when 0 liquid tokens are going to be on the market, unless they're in something like liquidity providing. So that's something to look forward to. So we have a limited amount of tokens, and you use the tokens to mint the NFTs, which means there's also a limited amount of NFTs. So we have limited tokens, limited amount of NFTs, and limited minting phases for our NFTs. And the next thing we have also, which is pretty rare, is the evil address. We've all heard of the OA. Well, this is the EA. We have an evil address that has an advantage going into this. And instead of trying to convince everyone that this is a benevolent address, we're just going to let people hate on it and consider it evil. And it's going to be competing with the people for NFTs and for tokens. So it's going to be hoarding up that supply. The rapture, as I said earlier, is a date in the future, about 9.5 years in the future, where if you don't use your tokens, either in an NFT or the giveaway or the treasury or anything like that, or liquidity providing, then they are going to be destroyed from circulation forever. And that'll remove a lot of dust from the ecosystem and dead wallets. And then last but not least, we have the collective. And the collective is a community online and in real life where we actually keep track of your points and your participation in the community, and you're going to be given a rank system inside the collective. The collective are the freedom fighters, or the underdogs in our sci-fi story, that are fighting. They're fighting the evil address, the Federation, the governments, and the corporations that are trying to monopolize all the power and energy, kind of like we see right now in crypto in real life. So our roadmap right now, we have the wish well phase that we're going right now. You can obviously contribute, throw money in the wish well, and get points for that. And then we're waiting on the code getting finished so we can go to audit. And then we'll have the public testnet, bug bounty, mining, claiming, and then the token issuance, where the real fun begins with the NFTs. The core team right now is me, Hexius Man, and Cody Smith, who put this beautiful document together and has done some really good marketing for us. And here's all of our links at the bottom to reach out to us. On Telegram is the main place to hang out. And then, of course, this YouTube channel, we do stream every night as the clock rolls over with the different phases. Right now, I said we're in phase 2 of the Wishwell, and we're down to, I think, less than 6 days. And here's our sick ass logos for y'all. All right. Any questions?
Yeah, how many days was that again?
How many days were left in the Wishwell right now?
Yeah, it's less than 6.
Yeah, less than 6 to get 22x, and then it's going to drop to 11x bonus points per dollar that you throw in the Wishwell. And when you do throw money in the Wishwell, please come into our Telegram and tell us what you're wishing for. This isn't like a birthday candle wish where if you tell someone it's not going to come true. This is the opposite. This is where we're all going to express our wishes and work as a community to make them come true.
Well, I've been looking forward to your project for a long time, so patiently waiting.
I'm going to try not to shed a tear on camera, but that means a lot, Randy. Thank you.
That's very sweet.
Any other questions real quick, and then we'll throw back to Mark. And obviously you guys can jump into Telegram and get your questions answered or jump on stream as we go forward with this. Go ahead, Robert.
So if I may, let me share with you my mindset on what's going on, and if you
Yes.
could correct that for me.
Hmm.
So it's like there are these multiple phases, 33 different phases, and it sounds like the first one is like a little bit longer, right, to get people kind of on board with that. And through each phases, it's like you got to use your tokens, the fungible tokens, or else they go away. It sounds.
That's correct.
Or
There's 33 chances to mint the NFTs. And the first minting window is going to be 30 days because people are going to be receiving their tokens and figuring it out. So we're giving them a couple more weeks on the first minting phase. And then after the minting phase, that starts a 90-day journey. And during that journey, there's giveaways. And at the end of that journey, there's a reward of the tokens inside the NFTs. And so, like I said, the first one's 30 days, 90 days. But after that, every window is going to be 15 days, 90 days. So 105 days total. So basically what we're trying to do is simulate the Bitcoin halving every 105 days instead of every 1700 days.
thanks. And also the in regards to the NFTs, are these like, are these like different issues and etc. NFTs, almost like receiving like new comic book issues and such in the future?
Yeah, it's more like, I would say, like trading cards, basketball or baseball cards. So like there were only so many Michael Jordan rookie cards minted, and if you have one of those and you took care of it, then you did really well. And so at the very beginning, the very first NFT is going to be an image of the book Rings of Dust. That's a sci-fi novel. So that's going to be the first NFT, and then there'll just be as many of those minted as people participate in those first 30 days. And then as we go on, you're actually going to, your rewards will get smaller each one of the 33 minting series. So you're going to get the best rewards with the first minting series, just like getting that rookie card versus his first or second or third year. And all that art is going to come from the book. And we'd like to start off with about 7 different images, and that'll give us 2 years of time of leeway, and then we can start reaching and getting art from the community. So we can start having contests and giveaways where people get to play with AI and come up with their own art, and we can have people vote on it, and that will be the new, JPEG or Flash image that goes on with that.
It sounds like a great way with like people who are fans of like, whichever stories and books in the future. It sounds like a great example of a model of what authors can do and publishing houses can do.
Yeah. In
Awesome.
fact, we have
I like
seen a couple do crowdfunding, but not on blockchain yet. So that is really good.
Maybe one thing.
Thank you.
It's a great profile pic, Exato.
Exato. Thank you for making me laugh.
And canceled.
Yeah. And there goes my YouTube channel. But either way, yeah. Sorry.
Is that
Let me
Mark
pull up-
Cuban?
I think that was. All right. Awesome. Let me see.
Yeah, one thing I want to maybe mention about your project also, I quite like this idea of building kind of the community first, right? And then adding utility and products and cool stuff as you go.
Mhm.
I see that as kind of a new way of funding projects. So I think that's really great, and something that other projects should look into as well, instead of raising funds, trying to build a lot of product, which is very, very difficult, to do it kind of the other way around, which I think crypto is unique in enabling that. It's really cool.
Yeah, something I realized in the crypto sphere is that very few people have integrity when it comes to in real life. So like you'll go to a crypto event, and until I got involved with Hex and Pulse Chain, all the in-person crypto events that I went to were pretty flaky people. They were great online and they like to make money online. But for instance, I was sending out these Hex Ray Vision t-shirts, collector's items now because we switched to Pulse Ray. But when I would mail these t-shirts to people in Canada or even in Europe, it blew their mind that someone would actually follow through on their promise. So if I said, hey, I'm going to ship you a t-shirt, I'm going to do this or that, when it showed up, people lost their minds. And so just some idea about the collective and the ranks. You start off as an informant, you work your way up as an agent, a special agent, operator, and so forth with your points, which is great. But just some of the ideas that we're thinking about are doing some high quality prints of some of these NFTs and signing them and sending them out with stickers and shirts and other things like that, that really give the community a tangible feeling of belonging, a part of this collective. And the symbol that Cody came up for the collective is beautiful. It's a if you guys see, it's on the white paper, but it's a water droplet, but it's so much more. And just like each water droplet can collect to be a wave or an ocean, we can all collect to become a really powerful force as a community. So shout out to Cody on that. Yeah, thank you very much for letting me jump into that, Mark. Good setup, Mark. Nice segue.
Well, okay. Well, thanks a lot, everyone. I think let's go in the last 20, 30 minutes or so, where, what's the next steps, all of that. So first of all, we did say we're going to give away some NFTs, but we didn't say for what yet. So I would love for everyone who's watching, also if you guys are on the stream here, to just comment the top 2 projects that you liked the most in here. And I think we can give away 2 NFTs for the winning project, and we can give away 2 NFTs, 1 each for anyone who's raffling away for anyone who's commenting on the YouTube video. So please just now go in there and write. I'm not sure if let's recap maybe quickly all the projects that we've had, and then please just post the 2. First was Roger with Pulse Bet, right?
Roger and Derek with Pulse Bet.
Roger and Derek with Pulse Bet. So if you want to put that in there, just put Pulse Bet, right? And also here, so as I said before, it's very important that we can form community around the project. So how do people best contact you to join your team if they feel, they can contact saying, hey, I have this or that capability, whether it's tokenomics, design, or marketing, or whatever they want to do. People can always come into the Forge Telegram. The Forge Telegram, which we just moved away from Curator, so these 2 can be more targeted. And the Forge Telegram is there for people to discuss projects, to show the projects that they have, give input, get to meet each other. So you can come into the Telegram and say, hey, I really love PulseBet. I would like to join. This is my ability. If you want to do it in private, I guess contact someone privately. I'm not entirely sure how we're going to do that, but anyone can come into the Forge Telegram and see you guys' profiles there. So that's one way of doing it.
For our project, if you go to betonpulse.com, we've got a waiting list, but I just added a field for comments. So if you add to the waiting list and you want to put, hey, this is what I specialize in, I'd love to be a part of it, just add that and we can reach back out to you. And we definitely would love to engage through the communities that are already set up as well.
Okay, yeah, so please, everyone do that. I think the second project was Apex Hex, right? Do we have a name for it already? What was there were some suggestions, I think.
No official name. I was just calling it Pulse Farm for now, which, I mean, honestly, that'd probably stick because it's pretty simplistic, but nothing set in
You should
stone.
call it Pump My Bags, baby.
Yeah, that's option number 2. That, what'd you say, farmer? Somebody said something about a farmer name.
Yeah.
Only farmers.
That was it.
Yeah, you don't have to be lonely at Farmers Only. That's what I would say.
Oh.
Our slogan.
Okay, so number 1 would be Pulse Bets. Number 2 would be Only Farms, right? Number 3 was Crypto Rookies, was it?
The project is called Civitas. That's the staking pad. And then the Web3 onboarding is the WordPress for Web3.
Okay, can we maybe, how do we make sure people know these names? Max, you want to post them in the comments or something? Or
I'm going to say, so PulseBet, I'm going to say is 1. Okay. And then the next one is What did you guys want to call that one?
Only
Farming?
farm.
Only farming. Only farms. That's pretty good for now. Only farms. We'll give that a number 2. So put the number in chat that you guys think like the most, and that'll give us an idea of the top 2. And then the third project from, let me pull this off of there, of Crypto Rookies.
Was Cavitas, right?
How do you spell that?
Civitas.
Civitas. And that's Civitas.
Yes.
Awesome. And so we'll give that one number 3. All right.
And
then
number 4 was Genius AI,
Genius.
right?
Yep. Genius AI.
And number 5, we went back to Crypto Rookies, right? With the what was number 5?
It was Nate also pitched the reality TV show or something.
Nate did a two sentence pitch.
So what would I call that one?
You know you want it.
What do you want me to call that project?
Crypto social media.
Okay.
Crypto social media.
You know you want it. Help me. Help me.
And that one's going to be 5. Okay, so we got crypto social media number 5, and then it went back to Crypto Rookies' second idea, correct?
Yes.
And that what do you call that one?
Web3 onboarding.
Can you spell that for me?
Web3, WEB3.
Web3
onboarding.
Thank you very much. I'm not a very fast typer, so it's and so we'll see. Give that one number 6. So Web3 onboarding number 6. All right, and then mine will be anti-gravity. It'll be number 7, right?
Yes. That's pretty good. We got 7 projects into this stream, and I think all of them quite well discussed and some good feedback. I think they went really well. So yeah, please, everyone in the stream, also here who's on the stream, please post your number 1 and number 2. And then the idea is everyone, of course, can now go to the Forge. I will share my screen to show you. Let me finish first. So the top 2, we would like to put into the Forge, really encourage everyone to come and give reviews. And then we haven't set a date yet, but Randy, the idea was that we'll go on your stream sometime with that and incubate these, just focus on these 2 projects and incubate them more in depth. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Yeah. So that's the next step, and then we'll have to see how much we get done there. But we want to shepherd these projects all the way through to the launch. And there might be a few streams involved. We can discuss it in the Telegram group as well, and we can, of course, have the reviews on the Forge. So let me go into that a little bit here. Just going to share my screen and show how that will work.
Fast Abdul's mad we skipped one of his idea, gatekeeping. You put like 3 in the chat.
I like his Ray die idea. That was the best one ever.
Yeah, the Ray die was pretty good. Hexinator, it's good to see you. Crypto Compassion says 1 and 7. I got 1 and 4. Nate's voting 2 and 3. Fast Abdul's got 2 and 7. Smo like 7. Some guy named Randy Hillaire Sky says number 1 and number 2. Jeff's got 2 of 5. Paul Smo Spider's on 1. Paul Sachs is 5 of 7. Mr. Rock Jockey has 7 and 4. Regina Canarai has 2 and 4. Robert Genio's voting 2 and 6. And then 7, he wants those NFTs. Radical Retro's got 2 and 7, and Ascending Man has a lull. I don't know where to put the lull.
The lull for the NFTs.
Yeah, we got a vote from Titan Group for 2 and 6. Only Farms because I like hilarious. I have dual wins. Yes, love it. Yeah, anybody else throw those in there? We got them, and I cannot wait to go over to Randy's house. I've heard Anna is a hell of a cook,
Yeah, right. My wife. We go out to eat if we get something really good. Not my wife.
Victory is mine, says Fast Abdul. Tin Top's voting genius. And then Titan also's group voting genius. So I don't know how much
Okay.
longer you want to wait on this, but we can go. Oh, and do you want me to share the screen as well?
Yeah, that would be great.
Awesome.
Then
There
I
you
can
go.
show- All right.
You bet.
Cool. So yeah, we actually, so here's the Forge. So we launched the login, so people can go here and sign up. This is the version 1 where it's not powered by the NFTs yet. So we're opening it up to really kind of allow the reviews come in, so anyone can sign up and start reviewing projects. And then this is how it looks once you're in. These are the first projects that are in here now. We have another 3-4 that we're going to load up. This is here one example of a project. This one just has a pretty extensive white paper. It's from Andrik. He runs the Spanish version of the Discourse Syndicate. And I wrote here a first example review that people can go and check out. It's very important when you write a review that you are respectful, even if you write a 1-star review, because founders, they really put a lot of thought and a lot of time into their projects. And because there are so many scams and problems in crypto, reviewers sometimes just look at everything like a scam, and it can be quite, it's non-productive to come and write it like that, saying, I think this is a scam, stay away kind of thing. So what we encourage to do is saying what you like about a project, then having kind of clear pros and cons that can help a lot. And then I usually like to put in tips of what I think the project should do or what it would need to do to get a higher rating. This is not how you have to format your review, but this is just something that I've gotten a lot of, it's a format that I've gotten a lot of good feedback from project founders for, that it really helped them a lot. And this is what we're trying to do, is to have a platform where the community can provide really helpful feedback for projects so they can excel, right? So what we want to do now is take these 2 winning projects, definitely submit them here, and as I said, shepherd them through. We will then also post about this on the Forge Telegram, on the Forge Twitter, on Curator as well, and invite the entire community to come and review. Now, we do have, if you go here to the community, you see people starting to sign up, and you'll see people who have this little badge next to them, and those are verified analysts. Right now, they will be handpicked. So Nate will get a little badge here as well, and the people on our council, some of our NFT holders will get the first badges. And what that means is, down here you can see I have 7 super upvotes. So all the guys with the badges, they will have these super upvotes, and they can go through all the reviews pouring in from the community and super upvote the ones that they like the most. And if they give a super upvote, then that gives experience points to the analysts. So someone can come in at this point. Later, that will not be possible anymore. But right now, even if you don't have an NFT, you can come in and you can start writing reviews. And if your reviews are really good, and our handpicked analysts will super upvote them, you will get experience points. And we encourage projects to give tokens to the platform, and you will be able to get some of those tokens through your experience points. Later, when we mint the NFTs and integrate them into the platform, then those experience points will likely be linked to the NFTs. You might get some NFTs or something like that, because ultimately you'll need to use the NFTs and the tokens of the platform to engage. But right now, as we're in this version 1 of the platform, it's more open, and it gives people the opportunity to basically earn their way in. So the plan now is to have these top 2 projects be in here. Especially everyone else is also encouraged to submit their projects. Then we want to get as many reviews in here as possible. Hopefully we can incubate the projects through the reviews already much further, and then we'll plan a second stream with Randy where we'll dig into these projects in much more detail, given all the feedback we've already had through the platform here, through the reviews. And hopefully the teams have already grown a little bit by then, because they were able to get people from the community to join them. So that's the any questions about this?
I was going to say someone was asking for links in the show notes. So if everyone can send Mark their links in a single document or whatever, I'll get those from him and add those to the show notes. So people, when they watch this, can be like, hey, what was the Telegram for this guy or that guy or this project? We'll have all those in the show notes.
Yes, that would be great. Any questions about the process or the platform or anything like that, or is it clear?
I appreciate you having us out. It's been great. Thank you.
Yeah, I think this is very exciting. Hopefully we can perfect this format. I think we'll see a little bit how fast this incubation goes. And then we'll see if this becomes a monthly or a weekly or bi-weekly stream. We'll tune this a little bit as we go.
We can bet on it.
And let me just say quickly, Mark's been working on this behind the scenes for a long time, him and his team. If you want to give a shout out to your teammates, I just wanted to thank Mark for putting together something so cool that we can focus our positive energy and our building on. This is really, really needed, is not just a launch pad, but a launch pad with so much community involvement and a launch pad with checks and balances, so you can trust the people promoting this stuff. So thank you very much, Mark. And like I said, shout out the rest of your team too.
Yeah, so thanks a lot, especially for AJ. He's very, he's a developer, so he likes to be in front of his computer and not on the stream. But he has built most of this himself with his second developer as well. So it's really amazing. And then Dan, who you guys often see in the curator chat, who's bringing in a lot of cool projects. We also have Jeans and Jamie, who are doing a lot of the creative work in the background. Thanks a lot to my entire team. And it's a really big moment for me as well. Curator was started about 2 years ago, the development. But I've been an entrepreneur for 15 years. And I've always wanted a platform like this where I could go and present my ideas and find other people to join me and make it happen together and get funding from a community and not from a VC. So it's been a dream for many years to make this happen, and launching this today really means a lot. And getting the support from all of you guys on here means a lot to me as well. And I hope that we can launch many successful projects together, and that we are going to inspire a lot of people that this is a new way of making stuff happen. So I hope this is going to be the start of something very, very big.
Awesome. And on that note, like I said, so when should people look for the next stream to be announced from the Forge? And where can they follow the Forge on Twitter and on Telegram?
But easiest is to just go to the website forgenfts.com, which you can see my name there. And then there's the Telegram link and the Twitter link in there. I think that's the easiest way to go. The next stream, so I think Randy and I have to discuss that a little bit. I think we'll need to see how far along we get with the reviews. I'm hoping that we can do something next week, but let's see how it goes.
Sounds
awesome.
Good to me.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks again for everyone being here. Keep in touch with us on all your social medias, and follow each one of these people on Twitter and on their YouTube channels. A lot of these guys have YouTube channels. So thank you very much. And you guys all have a wonderful night. Thanks.
Thank you so much, everyone. Bye-bye.